your show, your genre is storytelling, and you do it through your writing, but you also do it through performing and through music. And if I'm not mistaken, thus far you've been on the Grand Ole Opry 2 times.
Three times.
3 times
Yeah.
now. And for anybody that knows anything about music, and especially country music, that's a huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere your parents had taken you when you were a child to
Yeah.
the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee. Take it from there.
So we lived in Nashville. We lived in Spring Hill, Tennessee, for a short time, because my daddy, being an iron worker, would go wherever the need. They called them boomers. He'd go wherever the work was, and they were building what was then the Saturn plant, but became the GM plant, and it was the biggest thing my daddy had ever done. And I didn't think about it like that until just recently, realizing the size and breadth and enormity of this plant, and the position that they gave him as a foreman, which was unusual for him. This was a big, big deal for him. So we lived there for a short time, and being so close to Nashville, he wanted to take me to the Opry because we listened to the Opry.
Sure.
And back then, people still, they listened to radio.
Sure.
So we always tuned in on Saturdays, loved it. So they took me to the Opry, and I remember where we sat. I must have been 5 years old, and my mother later would recall that she remembers where we sat too, and she, in the middle of the Opry, changed my diaper on her lap in these stands while the show was going on, and everybody was giving her these dirty looks, and that she said, "I've paid enough money for these seats, they're gonna watch my baby." And I just hoped that the time that I got called to the Opry that I didn't have a similar experience as an adult. But so this was real special to me. We went back several times, but I'll never forget it. I never forget sitting there and smelling the popcorn and eating a hot dog, and watching the men in the 10-gallon hats and the twin fiddle intros and the steel guitar solos and all these wonderful things that make me feel so American. Yeah. And make me feel so connected to the music of my ancestors, my father, and all that. And so that was my first initiation into the Opry.